hide your kids, lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's National Hamburger Day. That means White Castles for breakfast, Big Macs for lunch, and Whoppers for dinner. What's up, boys and girls? You're listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. This is your co-host, Joel, Old Timer with Cheeseman.
And this is Chad, Euro Chad will return, so wash.
And on this week's show, Elon is X-rated, DEI goes down, and Google for Jobs marches on. Let's do this.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harry comes in. Harry is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harry, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harry's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harry, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harry is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
Oh my God, dude! The picture of you on the socials in the airport coming back to the U.S., man, just salty.
Hating it. Hey, I mean, but I gotta say, what a great 2.5 months away in Europe. I got to say that all the different countries that we visited were very, very different, yet all incredibly welcoming in their own way. We went to, had some time in the islands of Madeira, which are just fucking gorgeous.
Yep.
Then a week in Vienna, a week in Krakow, a few days in Stamford, England, then on our way to Wreckfest for an amazing event. After Wreckfest, we actually hosted friends at our place in the Algarve for a week. And then after that, we had a week and a half of absolutely nothing until we got back stateside just yesterday. So it was a great time. Next time, I think we're going to spend the entire time just at home on the southern coast of Portugal.
Yeah, so let's break down the world tour for the rest of the year. You're in the States for like a couple months.
Yeah, until Paris, baby, until Unleash Paris, which we'll talk about in events, and then we'll be out and about then. But if listeners, obviously you've been keeping track. I've had different backgrounds every week for the last 2.5 months, whether I was in Krakow, Vienna. We were in a freaking hotel rooms in England. You're in Liverpool, and I was in Nebworth.
Yep.
But yeah, we're all over the place, having a great time, and just trying to live the life, baby.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. No more crazy time zone shit, like regular time. And I'm sure your dogs were glad to see you.
Yes. Dogs were definitely glad to see us. And they know that they get away with a little bit more the first week that we're home. So they're enjoying that as well. All three of them.
Let's get to it.
All right. I'm going to roll into shout outs if you don't mind, right out of the gate. And this is going to be very, very tearful. First shout out to Julie Sowash. So the pinnacle of the trip, and you're going to find this to be quite hilarious after what I just said, was building a shed with my wife. Yes. So we needed a shed. So I took the measurements. And
Not
I
a
asked
tent.
Julie,
Not a tent,
no,
a shed.
A shed.
Okay.
Yeah, a shed. Julie ordered to order it. And the fucking thing must have been made by IKEA. There were so many pieces for no apparent goddamn reason.
Mm-hmm.
The directions were total shit. So over a 2-day and 9-hour build, which should have taken about 4 hours, we didn't have one fight. Nobody raised their voices. And it wasn't marital bliss, but I tell you what, shout out to the true test of marital patience and love. That's IKEA or building a fucking shed like this. So shout out to Julie Sowash.
All right.
Yeah, that's definitely like Euro Chad, laid back, beachfront, like that. Columbus, Indiana, it's like full blown karate fight. It's different here back in the States. Well, my first shout out goes to a fallen monster, if you will. So we both remember the days of Super Bowl ads and parties and Zeppelins and all kinds of stuff. Well, you think Monster is dead? Well, think again, Chad. Think again. They've announced that they will remain the official job board of the Boston Red Sox through 2023 and into 2024. As part of the partnership, they'll release a comedic short film called, quote, The Mascot Within, featuring the Red Sox mascot, Wally. News to me. The film follows Wally's journey to discover his perfect job at Fenway Park with the help of, you guessed it, Monster.com. Fans also have a chance to win special game seats and a VIP tour of Fenway Park. Who needs Super Bowl ads? Monster is back, baby. Go Sox, who are closing in on last place in the AL East, by the way. The Yankees are in the basement, just in case you're wondering. I know you've been gone from America for a while. Probably not a lot of Yankees news in Portugal.
Yeah, no. A lot of New York Yankees hats, though. Nobody knows what they are, but they know it's New York. So it's got a great brand. It's funny because the Monsters mascot, Trump, they don't have anymore. So they had to use somebody's mascot. Might as well be, the Red Sox. I want to shout out to listener love. So being gone for the last 2.5 months, we've been lucky enough to have some presents just pile up around here.
I love listener love.
First and foremost was a bottle of Woodford Reserve Double Oak.
Oh, come on now.
From Mike Fitzsimmons over at Crosscheck. And then I got 2 bags of my favorite Turkish coffee with proper coffee cups, the actual Turkish coffee cups from Maya Huber and our friends over at Tadio. And not to be outdone, our friend Evan White, get ready for this, kids, sent a 2.75 liter, look at that, 2.75 liter bottle of Eagle Rare to Julie with
2.5 liters. Okay.
Yes. To Julie, which detailed that this bottle could help her through the struggles of being my wife, which I thought was hilarious. Now, a normal size bottle, look, you got to see normal size bottle, 750 milliliters. This is almost 2.5 times that. I mean, Evan was not fucking around, kids. So shout out to Mike, Maya, and our friend Evan.
Evan is getting a lot of use out of that Costco card. That's all I'm saying. That's the only place I could think that you could get that big of a bottle of,
right?
Of Eagle Rare. Jesus. Jesus. All right, Chad, my next shout out. You don't normally think of fast food when it comes to saving the planet, but QSR Magazine is predicting restaurants will lead the green charge. That's right. While it only takes 5 minutes to fill up your gas tank, it takes up to 30 minutes to charge your car. And restaurants like Subway and Starbucks are betting that you'll come in to charge and get a snack while you're waiting. More than 84 million people eat at quick-serve restaurants every day in the U.S. I'm one of those 84 million on most days anyway. And more locations are hoping you'll make your choice based on a cheap charge. Shout out to fast food restaurants greening the world. Shout out to fast food.
And I got to say, the Midwest could actually say that it is the capital, the fast food capital of the world, because I think that is probably 99.9% of the restaurants that we have here in flyover country.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, either gas stations are going to have to like become more sit down, hang out, Wi-Fi places, or like restaurants are perfect opportunities to build these out. And they had nice little drawings. If you want to Google QSR fast food EVs, like new Subways look like the old, the root beer place, the A&W.
Oh, yeah,
remember the A&Ws and the, so it's like you park your car, plug it in, order a sandwich and a sarsaparilla. Like, sounds like heaven to me. I'm in. I'm down.
Now, does the wait staff, do they roll around on skates? I mean, because that was a thing.
Well, by then there'll be robots, and the robots will probably just wheel around, and we won't have people at these places.
Yeah, but what we will have, Joel, is T-shirts. So the social, all over the socials, they've been blowing up with Chad and Cheese T-shirt sightings. PhD Andrea Durler over at Vizier, our favorite turnover contagion specialist, also Melissa Bordage and Catherine Henry, all sporting the new Chad and Cheese threads on the socials. Shelley Billinghurst created a new Recruitment Flex logo wearing Chad and Cheese while drinking a bourbon. Very apropos, Shelley. Very apropos. And last but not least, Bill Fanning sent me a message, and he said, "We made the T-shirts too soft. His wife keeps stealing his." Well, you know what, Bill? Mission accomplished. That's right. But you cannot win a Chad and Cheese T-shirt from our friends at JobGet if you don't register at chadcheese.com. Just click the free link in the header, and there you go. But wait a minute. What else can you win, Joel? There's more, right?
Oh, my. Not just T-shirts. And by the way, Bill, you can never go too soft or too hard.
What are you doing, step bro?
That's right. We can announce this month's winners, actually. Stacy Shaw was our whiskey winner from our friends at Tex Kernel. Colin Parker is our beer winner from Aspen Tech Labs. And our rum with plum, celebrating a birthday, was Suzanne Parham this month. So, yes, but you can't win if you don't play, kids.
What about our getaway? We need a getaway winner.
I'm passing that to you after I say you got to go to chadcheese.com/free. But that's not all you can win, Chad.
That's right. You can actually win a $250, that's right, $250 Airbnb card for a getaway from our friends at Abode HR. They are the specialists in being able to help you get your Gen Zers in place. That's right. Abode HR, $250 Airbnb card. You got to go to chadcheese.com, click on free, register. All of that booty, the bounty of that booty could be yours, maybe.
All the booty. By the way, we don't say it enough, but if you haven't left us a review on your favorite podcast platform of choice, please do so, whether it's positive or negative. We love the feedback.
Give it.
No matter what. No matter what.
Really?
Here it is.
Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can. I can feel it all the way down in my
That's right, Chad. A few fans are celebrating another trip around the sun with a birthday this week. That includes Dustin Carper, Jeremy Bright, Drew Field, Jim Schneider, Joe Wilkie, Mary Lanahan, Sarah Berlin, Ashley Smith, Julia Levy, Damon Ashley, Brian Cheney, Crystal Lay, Marin Hogan, Jason Basir, and...
We're doing our movie. Don't wreck our show, you hoser.
That's right. You mentioned Shelley, but Serge Boudreau is also celebrating a birthday. So happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday.
That's right. Guess what time it is?
Oh.
Shaker Recruitment Marketing. We are on the road again. RecFest Nashville on September 13th and 14th. The Chad and Cheese will be emceeing the Disrupt stage. We're gonna be there all of day one. There's 2 days, all of day one. We get a rest on the Sabbath, being the seventh day, or the second day in this case. And we're gonna have some special guests on stage. So come out, check us out. Oh yes, nice Shaker shirts. Then we're going to HR Tech in Vegas, October 10th through the 13th, where we will be spending 2 whole days in the Fuel 50 booth, drinking interviewing and doing whatever the hell we want, because I'm sure that's exactly what they want. Plus, I hear we're going to have guests, which are carbon copies of the Chad and Cheese.
Just a rumor, Chad. Just a rumor. Don't get the masses too excited too quickly. It's just a rumor at this point.
Then, last but not least, just a few days later, we're going back to Europe, baby. That's right. We're getting on a plane and we're heading to Paris for Unleash World October 17th and 18th. It is a staple event in HR and recruiting industry. And if you're a startup, which I know a good amount of you probably are, you should check out the Digital Startup Competition. Why? Because if people don't hear your voice, they don't hear your message, you're not getting your pitch right, you're not going to sell shit. Get out there, get at the competition. And we can see you there at chadcheese.com. Go to events in the upper right-hand corner. Register. Can't wait to see you.
Thank God we have August to recover. Our poor livers need a break.
Yes. Topics!
Oh, boy. Okay, Twitter is getting into recruitment.
What?
But let's talk about the name change real quick, Chad. Twitter is now X. The company said, quote, the Twitter name made sense when it was just 140 character messages going back and forth like birds tweeting, but now you can post almost anything, hinting a super app was coming. Chad, your thoughts on Twitter becoming X?
I mean, Elon Musk is literally taking everything away that made Twitter great. It was microblogging, which teased people into content. Right. I mean, that's really what it was. It was good for teasing people, having quick and snarky rebuttals and really having good discussion back and forth. Now, that's just not the case. Twitter X, though. So you're taking a well-known global brand and you're changing it for no fucking reason. I mean, you can make these stupid changes under the Twitter name. But he wants to turn it into something entirely new and different. He's making a ton of changes that we'll talk about here in a minute as we get into the recruiting side of the house. Yep. But I don't know if this is real. It's kind of like him wanting to have a dick measuring contest inside the octagon with Zuckerberg. I don't know if what comes out of this guy's mouth is actually real. You got to X.com now, and it redirects to Twitter.
Yep.
I just don't know why you would spend those resources trying to push everything. None of this makes sense to me from a business standpoint. He's just losing money.
Yeah. It's funny you said, I don't know if it's real. And so the first two that came to my mind in my lifetime as major brand screw ups, number one is New Coke.
Yeah.
New Coke was a disaster.
Yeah.
Coke was quick to turn around and say, well, okay, sorry, let's go back to Coca-Cola Classic. By the way, Coke Classic does not taste the same as the original Coke, because we actually had cans of the old Coke and they had Classic. And I did taste tests as a teenager. I'm like, this is not the same. Something is going on. Anyway, so the conspiracy theorist in me said Coke had that planned all along, that they were going to switch back to maybe a cheaper recipe and fool everybody. Anyway, and then Netflix, when they were moving from like direct mail movie CDs or DVDs, went into streaming, they created a new brand called Quickster. I don't know if you remember this or not, but Quickster was like a week-long thing. The Wall Street freaked out. People were like, what the hell's going on? And then they quickly said, just kidding. We're still Netflix. And now Netflix is known more for streaming now than actual mail DVDs. So I kind of thought at first, oh, Elon's going to go, okay, I'm sorry, I pissed off the community. We'll go back to Twitter. But all signs point to this being a thing now. You have a multi-billion-dollar brand that was built for free at the footer of every major media company, every major company. Every site almost on the web has a Twitter bird that links back to Twitter. To throw that away so just in a cavalier fashion just was weird. Clearly, Elon doesn't care. He's not listening to anybody. This is going to go down as one of the biggest branding mistakes that you'll probably ever think of. Just like Netflix wasn't pigeonholed into mailing DVDs, Twitter isn't pigeonholed into always being a 140 character messaging thing back and forth. You can evolve this thing into whatever. this super app that he's talking about where there's payments, and I guess you can call an automated Tesla at some point, or maybe get a trip to space with your phone. Like, I don't know where this thing's going, but to make it X, like, whatever. There's stories about like trademark issues, like companies like Microsoft with Xbox. There's like X trademarks. So this is going to be another headache for him legally.
Yeah.
They took the poor guy that had the X handle and just said, like, sorry, dude, we're taking this over. So now X at Twitter is now X, right? It's the new company. Look, either he's going to look like a total genius and crush this thing, or it's just going to go down as one of the many stupid consumer electronic mistakes and sites that he's doing. Stick with cars, stick with spaceships, dude. Like, it's just kind of sad to see this thing spiral down into trash.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Yeah. But they're getting into recruiting, so it's
maybe they
can
turn it around with hiring. So let's go to recruitment now, Chad. Twitter is reportedly developing, quote, Twitter hiring, end quote, a job listings feature for verified organizations to post up to 5 listings visible on their profile. The service is expected to be free for verified organizations, offered alongside the $1,000 a month verified organization subscription. So it's not exactly quite free, but I guess it is in a roundabout way. Twitter's interest in jobs-related offerings was evident as they acquired the job matching startup Lasky, which we discovered or talked about, Chad, a few weeks ago. And Elon Musk expressed interest in the idea when they acquired Lasky. Chad, your thoughts on Twitter or X or whatever hiring?
Okay, so we're going to start out with a couple of quotes. So get all this put into perspective. So this quote is from NDTV. Quote, advertiser spending dropped 89% to $7.6 million over a 2-month period earlier this year, according to estimates from market research firm Sensor Tower, end quote. Dropped 89%. Then the BBC reports, quote, Twitter has lost almost half of its advertising revenue since it was bought by Elon Musk last October, in a statement by Musk, end quote. Job postings won't heal Twitter's self-inflicted revenue wounds. It's just not going to happen. This is a gushing wound, and he's got a generic Band-Aid that they're trying to apply to it. Job postings on Twitter are already happening, and if you're following a company that you're interested in, you're probably already seeing jobs in your feed. They're probably 99% irrelevant, but jobs, have been in the feed since back in the Tweet My Jobs days. 5 featured jobs. I mean, can you imagine a company with hundreds or thousands of jobs trying to manage the top 5 jobs on your profile? If you can only sponsor 5 jobs, I mean, because there's no clarity about this yet. If you can only sponsor 5 jobs at a time, that dramatically curbs the revenue opportunity. That makes no sense. Discovery, how will Twitter, drive relevant leads to real engagement? Well, the answer is relevant job content. But Twitter has little to no understanding of users' work history, career pathing, or anything related to providing relevant job content to users. Now, I understand that Twitter purchased Lasky, a job matching platform, but without the data about me and my work history, none of that fucking matters, right? Again, you're just making shit up. You're going to have hallucinations all over the place. Employer branding. What brand wants to be involved in this shit show other than maybe the My Pillow guy, right? So very few, as demonstrated by advertising, marketing, and brand leaders pulling their cash out of Twitter. So this isn't bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's the equivalent of bringing a man with no arms and no legs to a gunfight.
Tell us how you really feel, Chad. So this is really interesting, and this goes back in my mind. Reid Hoffman and Elon worked at PayPal together. So Elon's known about probably the idea of LinkedIn before it actually even launched. So I got to think at the back of my mind, Elon has always thought about, hey, LinkedIn is a good business. It has no competition. And we talked last week about LinkedIn getting some competition. Is it in the form of Twitter? I don't know, but I got to think Elon is thinking about that. The history, you touched on it, of jobs integrating with social media. is long, and it's a long list of Trail of the Dead. You might remember Simply Hired did a deal with MySpace back in the day to power jobs for them. Simply Hired was the backfill for LinkedIn for many years. You could see the LinkedIn jobs, and there was a second tab for Simply Hired that you could see that there. We both remember Google Base, which was Google's first drop into that quickly, or followed by Google Plus. There was no integration there. Facebook Jobs, we've talked about, and they've done since we've launched this show. Jobs on Facebook are gone. So if Facebook can't make this shit work, do we really think that Twitter can make this work? It's doubtful. I feel like Elon's going to get bored. He's going to move on to other stuff, more exciting stuff. But I also appreciate that it's low-hanging fruit. You know, if you can get 10,000 companies to like be a verified company and be able to put jobs up, you know, that's $120 million a year, like no big deal, but that's not chump change either. There's got to be searchability. It looks like you can put your ATS or an XML feed into Twitter, and maybe you select the 5 jobs that are at the top, or maybe it's searchable. Again, we don't quite know what it's going to look like. Then I think the next step is, if you want to apply to jobs, or if you want to access jobs or more jobs, or if you want to put yourself out there to be hired, you will subscribe as a user to then put yourself out there. So now it's a position where all these job seekers that are on Twitter, just like on LinkedIn where it says I'm looking for work or I'm open to work, now on Twitter you'll be able to like add that I'm open to work, as long as I'm paying the $8 a month to be on Twitter. So I think he's going to create this model of like, hey, if you pay a subscription, you get all this stuff, and we'll keep adding value. The golden goose, of course, is companies paying $1,000 a month to do this. I think a lot of companies will, just to see how it works. And if he adds value to that, then they'll keep doing it. But that said, this is a drop in the bucket of the kind of money he has to start making to like make his $44 billion investment worthwhile. It's an easy layup in terms of getting some revenue. I'm not shaking in my boots if I'm LinkedIn. I'm not losing sleep if I'm Indeed. This is kind of a nice discussion point, but it'll probably be dead in a year.
He's got bigger things to do. He's got bigger fish to fry, right? Electric cars, you know, space, those types of things. And he's focusing on shit like, I mean, he's literally submarined this business. And now he's coming up with all these different ideas that have no focus whatsoever in trying to, again, put a cheap Band-Aid on a fucking gushing wound. He's had problems with brands. Any brand that has already started pulling revenue or advertising dollars, what do you think is going to happen if a company says, well, we're going to go ahead and sponsor for $1,000 a month or what have you? Marketing finds out about it and says, no, fuck that. Optics wise, that's fucking stupid. Don't do that. We've pulled everything off of there in the first place for a reason. So yeah, I just think from an optics standpoint, from, you know, a business model standpoint, he is all over the place. And the X marks the spot on the fucking problem. It is all fucked up.
Not since Rim Jobs has X Jobs been so interesting. More spaghetti at the wall from Mr. Musk.
Of the time, it works every time.
All right, let's go from Twitter or X to Google. This is from our friends at AIM. Google-sponsored job ads, or what the kids are calling GSJA, that doesn't really roll off the tongue very well, could roll out fully in Q3 of 2023, providing sponsored posts above Google for Jobs results. Job boards may benefit initially, but need to adopt with SEO, SEM, and budget allocation. Regulatory concerns might lead Google to proceed cautiously, especially in Europe. Industry insiders believe GSJA will attract high-quality candidates and create new advertising opportunities for recruiters. However, there are challenges in understanding user intent for general job searches. Overall, however, AIM thinks Google's entry into job advertising could reshape how employers reach qualified candidates. Chad, what are your thoughts on GSJA?
Well, I think it's interesting, and I'm going to hit it with a different angle. I think Google's going to do a damn good job much better than we've seen in the past, especially around user experience. But remember that Indeed is now playing ball with Google for Jobs. So won't this just turn into another Indeed buying up more inventory like they did with Google PPC? Most niche job site players they're not sophisticated enough to pull together great SEO, SEM, and now Google for Job ads. Indeed is, right? Agencies, this is where recruitment marketing firms should step in and fill the void, not just for their employer brands, but for niche job site players as well. It's low-hanging fruit, especially in connecting user behavior with retargeting campaigns. That's what you will see from a lot of these job boards who want to really juice up their traffic. Here's a big European aha moment. European job sites have held their ground amazingly against Indeed. Indeed doesn't have great penetration into most of their countries because their local brands stand strong. But what other brands stand strong? Google. And Indeed could easily sway loyal locals their way through outspending European brands on Google. So if the Euro brands aren't spending any money at all, Indeed can hop in, and that is where a lot of the job search is actually starting. So it's a trust by association, and Google could be Indeed's Trojan horse into Europe. Now, beyond Europe, Indeed is only one site, right? And I've had actually discussions, and people have talked about, well, they're just one site, and Google for Job wants, they want diversity. Well, here's diversity for you, kids. There's another site called Glassdoor, and then another site called Simply Hired, which Indeed pretty much runs both of, which means also the top 3 positions are theirs right out of the gate, if they have the spend, of course. Mm-hmm. So I see many layers happening here in a Trojan horse into Europe through Google, because there's trust there. And then also you take a look beyond Europe into just being able to take all of the inventory, which they did very well when they first started search engine marketing way back in the day. They had great SEO, great SEM, and they just killed it. They could do that exact same strategy, starting with Google for Jobs right out of the gate, and then start better penetration into Europe.
You said just penetration.
I did.
So I think both of us at some point in our prediction shows talked about Google monetizing Google for Jobs with a pay-per-click solution. So I think you're taking credit for this year when they rolled it out first to like big players, ZipRecruiter, and some of the others. It's a natural progression. Anyone who knows anything about Google and what they've done saw this coming. Now they're going to roll it out to the masses. What struck me about this was something about timing. Google's really good about timing. Like right when Indeed started fucking with their pay per whatever, Google started sort of monetizing, rolling out pay-per-click. So it was like, oh, what great timing, both for Google and what a fuck up timing it was for Indeed for Indeed to mess with their pricing structure. So now you have Appcast acquiring Baird, and now all the agencies are freaked out about where we're going to put our spend in terms of distributing job postings. Well, what great timing. Now Google's about to roll out their pay-per-click solution. So all these agencies are going to easily be able to tell their clients, oh, Google has a solution now. We're going to go put a lot of spend that we were putting in Appcast or everywhere else into Google. And what employer is going to say, no, don't spend money on Google. That sounds like a big waste of money. I've never heard of them. As opposed to a second tier programmatic solution, Google looks like, oh, our agency is super smart. They're super on it. Yes, I will vote for leaving Appcast or whatever we're using and leveraging Google. Every employer is going to be on board with that. So now the agencies have perfect timing to be able to roll all their people, all these big companies into Google's pay-per-click, and all Google has to do is not fuck it up. Because if the spin works, if they get applies and they get the same kind of traffic that they were getting from Appcast or anywhere else, they're going to be able to keep that spend, and it's eventually going to trickle down to smaller companies, they'll be able to like, hey, post a job. Hey, you want to boost this? You want to like put some money toward that? So smaller businesses will I think gravitate toward Google. I think this is a big win for Google. Who's not going to pay for it? Everyone's going to pay for it. Companies are going to get on board. Agencies are going to spend a bunch of money on it. And we hate SMBs, but I think SMBs are going to slowly gravitate away from ZipRecruiter, Craigslist, whatever, and start posting their jobs directly onto Google. And they bring back hire Google, and they become, no, I'm kidding. They don't become an ATS again for all. But I think it's a natural progression. It's going to happen. What I've been waiting for a long time is Google Plus comes back. You have your resume, your profile on Google, and you can easily apply to these jobs. That's still, I think, going to happen. But for now, we'll just have to accept the old school pay-per-click, set a budget, and get traffic that we've all known and loved Google for almost 2 decades now doing. And now employers and agencies can embrace it. Finally. Quick break, and we'll talk about DEI going down. All right, Chad, the Wall Street Journal, one of your favorite publications, is reporting demand for chief diversity officers is on the decline after a surge in interest a few years ago. And these executives are facing higher turnover rates than their counterparts in human resources. This is according to Live Data Technologies. In addition, some diversity chiefs say that the Supreme Court's recent ruling against affirmative action in higher education is bringing additional scrutiny to their efforts. Companies including Netflix, Disney, and Discovery have recently said that high-profile diversity, equity, and inclusion executives will be leaving their jobs, and thousands of diversity-focused workers have been laid off since last year, and some companies are scaling back racial justice commitments. Chad, I'm guessing you have an opinion on this and want to share it.
Possibly. So let's break this down really quick, because this isn't just corporate America showing that they really never cared about diversity in the first place. That's only the start. Here in the U.S. recently, we've seen affirmative action killed in universities, and I predict that we will also see it challenged in the workplace. We're living in a time when states like Florida are citing slavery as a benefit to some slaves, right? In states like Arizona, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Montana, Oklahoma, Texas, and of course Florida, they have all launched anti-DEI initiatives. This is where we're going. So this isn't just a sign of corporate America showing that they've always believed that the chief diversity officer position was just a charade. They were all playing for branding optics. No, it goes much, much deeper and demonstrates just how fucked up and devolved the American society is right now. I mean, we are so divided for the wrong reasons. And let's be clear. A long time ago, we started talking and using the word tolerance instead of respect. We shouldn't tolerate. We should respect different races, genders, religions, choice of who people love, and individuals, healthcare choices. We should focus on respect. But corporate America, unfortunately, in this case, is only one of the symptoms of the disease. And that is the hard part. We're seeing this happening everywhere. And again, being over in Europe for the last 2.5 months, you can't imagine the amount of people who are in our business are like, what the fuck is happening over there? I mean, you guys are literally falling back. I mean, this is, I guess, what Make America Great Again meant for, obviously old white dudes. To me, watching this day after day, is so disheartening. It's bad here, but when I'm over in Europe watching this, oh my God, it hurts even more.
So George Floyd was the spark that sort of got this ball rolling. And you could look at Kaepernick, you could look at the Me Too. There was a wave in America for a short period that sparked this idea of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And everyone certainly we talked to on the show, everyone in our circles of employment and just human being interactions, was that this was a good thing. This was a healing moment, if you will, in America. Unfortunately, it became politicized. It became a way for Fox News to get more watchers and listeners, and it became a way for CNN to do the same thing, and MSNBC and whatever. And it sadly became this right-wing, left-wing argument about what is the point of this movement, and particularly what is the point of having someone at your company that's getting paid to do this. There was an incident at Stanford recently where their DEI head had an event, and they went into like either another professor or a business guy, and so like the media just grabbed onto this, and what followed from that was shareholders, business owners. You saw companies and CEOs coming out saying that this isn't political. Like, we're not here to state, political beliefs. We're here to make money. We're here to make products. We're here to build services. So the volume around this is something that could be a healing moment, something that brings us together, became them versus us. Companies started saying, we're out of the them versus us business. We're here to make products. They saw what happened to Disney. They saw what happened to other companies. The go woke, go broke trend became something that was popular. And all these DEI leaders are a casualty of that whole journey. And now they're finding themselves unemployed. They can't get a job now. They're forced to leave the profession and what they do and find work elsewhere. And my fear is that this is going to exterminate basically the entire title of DEI leader, manager, et cetera. And we're going to see this trend slowly fade away, sadly. And yeah, like you said, America is going backward. And I feel for the folks that were inspired by this movement, and it's saddened that it turned into a political fight that companies didn't want any part of, and letting go of their DEI folks is a casualty of that. And there's just no other way to paint this besides unfortunate and sad for America.
Yeah, we've seen the rallying cry of the new KKK be woke, and that is what it all. I mean, they're finding these fear words, right, to say that immigration's bad, that being able to try to equal the playing field, right? Again, these are all things that I believe we all believe in. The same day pay for the same work, right? I mean, that's what we're looking for, just one of those things. Yeah. But yet they don't. Again, the individuals that aren't that have been taking quote unquote a stand, but they're really not. Corporate America in this case, if they wanted to achieve pay equity, they would have done it already. Mm-hmm. And for anybody that says it's hard, fuck you. That's bullshit. We know better. There's technology out there. We know better, okay? They don't want to do it. And this is a great watershed moment in demonstrating, and it should to you, that they didn't give a fuck in the first place, right? Most of these CDOs didn't have staff. They didn't have budget. All they had was a position. And you know what that position was there to be? Was to be a chief diversity officer that everybody could point to and say, oh, look, we're doing our job. And they weren't. They never were. Yeah.
If there's going to be change, it's going to be in the younger people. My kids, your kids, spend money where there are companies that believe in this and champion this, and, go support businesses and initiatives that are behind this. Look, apply to schools that pound the table on, like, we're committed to a diverse campus. We're committed to a diverse student population. That's how things are going to change. It's not going to change by politicizing this and having it be an us versus them moment. Now on to something a little lighter, Chad.
Please, good God.
Yeah, this is a little heavy for you, your first day back in America. So remember Jeff Taylor, Monsters Jeff Taylor's Eons?
I can't forget him, dude.
Yeah,
I cannot forget him.
The social network / platform for the 50 and over crowd that launched back in 2006. Well, in case you forgot about it, Chad, or our listeners forgot about it, or you don't even know what the hell we're talking about, have a quick listen to a commercial from Eons back in 2006.
Hi, I'm Jeff Taylor, and I'm proud to introduce Eons.com. Eons is all about you, but here's the twist. You need to be past your 50th birthday. From this moment with Eons.com, you'll see more, you'll learn more, and you'll be more. Eons.com is the place to go on the web for everything 50 plus. I like to say boom, boom, boom. Let's get started. I'm here at Eons.com. It's free and there's tons to do. First off is fun and it's huge. Find tons of games, brain builders, and movie reviews just for people your age. And body. Take the longevity calculator, see how to add years to your life. Don't miss our exclusive products created especially for you. From Life Dreams, where you can build your top 10 list of life goals, to Cranky, the world's first age-relevant search engine. Come see us at Eons.com. You're one click away from living the biggest life possible, and it's free. Be proud, be inspired, get it done. You know what's coming. Boom, boom, boom!
Boom, 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 baby. Was Jeff even 50 when he launched Eons?
No,
anyway.
I don't think he was. No, I don't think he was. I mean, I think Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, Jane Seymour was, who was the spokeswoman for this. But
yeah. Cranky was like rank in large letters, and then the C and the Y were small at the end. So Chad, fast forward to today, and now a company called Peppermint, a New York City-based online clubhouse, as I put in quotes. I guess that's what we're calling social networks now, for adults 55 and over. That's right. We've gone from 50 over now 55. Has secured $8 million in seed funding, led by primetime partners. The platform offers interactive workshops and clubs to promote engagement and learning. It plans to expand operations and collaborate with senior centers to foster connections. Chad, what's old is new again. What are your thoughts on Eons 2.0, a.k.a. Peppermint?
$8 million's a lot of money for a seed round, and it's a shit ton of money to throw straight into the fucking toilet. I mean, face it, nobody wants to feel old, and creating a social media platform for people 55 plus means the equivalent to an old folks' home social media platform. I mean, it's really what it is. So now, if they're trying to get laid by someone your own age, then a dating site or dating app gives motivation to sign up. That makes sense.
Yep.
But anybody can create a group on Facebook and only give access to people who say they're 55 plus. So selling an idea purely on total addressable market without really understanding human behavior is a recipe for disaster. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, look, I get it. We're an aging population. 77 million baby boomers, 10,000 retiring every day. I get the allure of creating something just for the old
concept.
Folks.
Yeah.
The problem that was with Eons is still a problem today. Old people do not want to admit that they are old.
No.
They want to be on TikTok if they can figure it out. They at least want to be on Facebook and stuff that their kids on and maybe grandkids are doing. Instagram, they don't want to be somewhere that the old people go to die. Like that's just like, my dad is 83. He's almost 84. He lives in a retirement community, and all he can talk about is how old everyone is at the retirement community. I'm like, Dad, you're one of the fucking old people, dude. I'm sorry, but you're 83. Mick Jagger is 80. He turned 80 this week. You think he's joining Peppermint? No. He's Mick Jagger.
No.
All these old people want to be Mick Jagger. They still want it to be Woodstock. They still want it to be the 60s. And that's just the way that it is. And this thing, to get $8 million, is totally making a pile in the street and burning it, because this thing is not going to take off. There's already dating sites like you mentioned. Yes, STDs are running rampant in these places because you got divorcees and widows,
the villages,
all fucking each other. And I'm down with that. That's fine. But you don't need a site for it. And if you do, they already have Our Time or whatever. There's stuff out there, right? So these guys are behind the curve on that. And by the way, let's not even get into the issue of like old people not really figuring out new tech anyway. My dad's phone hasn't been able to download an app for 3 years because he fucked something up. That's sort of the demographic. It's like, let's launch something cool to people that don't get it anyway. And that's ageist because I'm technically almost in the age group for this site. And I can tell you, I would never join this site.
No.
Because I'm a podcaster, damn it. And podcasting is cool forever. Good luck, Peppermint. All right, Chad, the hashtag full-time daughter and hashtag full-time son trends are gaining popularity on Chinese social media, reflecting the rise of youth unemployment. Many adult children unable to find jobs are hired by their parents to do housework and do other companionship activities. Despite some criticism, some see it as a short-term option until better opportunities arise. The increase in unemployment may exacerbate the phenomenon, impacting household incomes and overall social consumption in China. Chad, full-time daughter, full-time son. Are you ready to take your kids back in and make them a full-time kid once again?
No. Let's get this straight. 4,000 subscribers in the full-time daughter group or full-time whatever it was group in a country of 1.4 billion. So that pretty much makes this the upper crust are paying their kids while everyone else is still working or trying to work or full a bunch of part-time jobs to actually make ends meet. So at the end of the day, it's unsustainable because every country needs highly skilled workers. And unless mom and dad has a cybersecurity firm, it's a cute story, but more Kardashian than reality. I don't see this being sustainable. I think it's a clickbaity and interesting for a very small few.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
So in the early 90s, there was a show with Chris Elliott, who was on Schitt's Creek, one of your favorite shows.
Yes.
And I forget the name of the show, but the gist of the show was he was a 40-year-old man still living with his parents. Yeah. And the show was funny because it was so outrageous. Like it would never happen. 40-year-old living with parents. And he acted like a kid, right? Video games, ordering pizza, like he did immature stuff. Here we are 20, 30 years later, and this is becoming a norm. I read all about this stuff about kids staying at home longer. When I was in my early teen, I wanted nothing to do with my parents. I wanted to get as far away from my parents as possible. Yep. If I had to live in a box at the Walmart, like that was better than dealing with my parents at dinner. No offense to my parents. They don't listen anyway. But China has some real problems. 20% youth unemployment. There's some real social upheaval there. And it's weird. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know, but for Chinese adults, parents to pay their kids to just be kids, and you should Google this story if you're listening, like pictures of like 25-year-old women that look like 13-year-old girls. It's like they want to go back in time, the parents, and have kids that were young and do the things that when they were young. They don't want to admit that they're old now. It's all just very bizarre. I don't really get it. They're paying them apparently $1,115 US per month, which is apparently the average salary in China. There was a quote from the story that said, my job is to spend time with my parents. For example, taking them to grocery stores and do some household chores. Also, if my parents want to go out, I would make plans in advance for them, taking them to the various locations. Like, what kind of surreal upside down world have we come into that our assistants now are our kids that are taking us out to events? Anyway, this is crazy. Maybe we'll all get lucky and Elon will move back into his mom and bring Twitter back for old time's sake, man. That's what we can hopefully hope for.
Boom,
Elon,
boom.
move back into mom's house. Boom, boom, boom. We out.
We out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!